Have you ever wondered what's really going on behind the scenes of the UFC? We see the fights, the dramatic knockouts, the blood, the sweat, and the glory. But what happens when the cameras turn off and the arena clears out? What are the fighters really dealing with, and what does it take to get to that octagon? There's a whole world behind the curtain that most fans never get to see, and trust me, it's more than just training and trash talk. First off, let's talk about the amount of pressure fighters face. We all see the UFC champions looking confident as they step into the octagon. But behind that confidence is a lot of mental stress. Imagine preparing for a fight where you might lose your title, your paycheck, or even your career with just one wrong move. Every fighter knows that one punch can change everything. But beyond that, there's the pressure of keeping up the image, staying in top physical condition, and constantly pushing yourself to be better than the guy across from you. It's not just about throwing punches, it's about being mentally prepared to deal with the consequences of every move you make. Now, let's dive into the world of training. Most fans have no idea how intense the training camps are for these fighters. It's not just a couple of hours in the gym here and there. These athletes train for months before a single fight, pushing their bodies to the absolute limit. They're grinding through brutal workouts, balancing strength training, cardio, technique, and strategy. But it's not just about physical fitness, it's about preparation for everything that could happen in the octagon. Fighters have to study their opponents, analyze their strengths and weaknesses, and plan for every possible scenario. It's a grueling process that demands total dedication, and even then, there's always a level of uncertainty about how things will go once the bell rings. And let's not forget about the mental aspect of being a UFC fighter. Sure, physical training is important, but mental preparation is just as, if not more, crucial. Fighters have to deal with the stress of constantly being watched, talked about, and criticized. Every mistake they make is blown up in the media, and their personal lives are often scrutinized. They're always in the public eye, and the pressure to maintain an image can be overwhelming. Some fighters handle it well, while others crack under the pressure. And yet, they all continue to step into the octagon, knowing that no matter what happens, they'll be judged. That mental toughness is what separates the champions from the rest. I also want to take a moment to thank you for sticking with me this far. I know this behind-the-scenes world of the UFC isn't something everyone thinks about when they watch a fight, but it's crucial to understanding what these athletes go through. You guys are awesome for caring about the deeper story, not just the highlight reel. So really, thank you for that. Now let's talk about the UFC's business side. It's no secret that Dana White and the UFC brass are making bank. But what about the fighters? They're the ones risking their lives every time they step into the octagon. But how much are they really getting paid? While top fighters rake in millions, a lot of the fighters lower on the card are barely scraping by. Many fighters have to rely on sponsorships, bonuses, and other revenue streams just to make ends meet. And let's not forget the fact that injuries can be devastating for a fighter's career, and those medical bills don't come cheap. Some fighters end up with lifelong injuries, and while they get some medical care, it's not always enough to fully cover everything. The UFC's business side goes beyond just fighter pay. There are contracts, negotiations, sponsorship deals, and TV rights. It's a multi-million-dollar machine that is constantly evolving. The organization has grown immensely over the years, becoming a global brand with massive influence, but at what cost to the fighters? It's a tough balance. They're being asked to perform at the highest level, but often aren't compensated fairly for the risk they take. And then there's the issue of matchmaking. Many fans believe that the UFC sets up dream fights, but behind the scenes there's a lot of strategy going on. Matchmakers carefully select fights based on marketability, fighter ranking, and sometimes personal rivalries. It's not always about who deserves the title shot next. It's about what makes the most sense from a business standpoint. Sometimes, the matchups fans want aren't the ones that make the most financial sense. Fighters may have to wait months, sometimes years, for a title shot, while the UFC cashes in on more popular matchups. One thing that most fans don't think about is the support system. Fighters are often surrounded by coaches, trainers, managers, and sponsors, but the majority of their support comes from within their team. These guys rely heavily on each other for mental and physical support. When things get tough, whether it's the grind of training or dealing with the emotional toll of a loss, it's the team that picks them back up and pushes them forward. Without that support, many fighters wouldn't be able to keep going. Finally, there's the issue of fighter health and safety. The UFC has come under fire at times for not doing enough to protect fighters from long-term injuries, particularly head trauma. While they've made strides in improving fighter safety, there's still a long way to go. Fighters are constantly risking their health for the sport, and at times it feels like the UFC doesn't do enough to ensure their well-being once they leave the octagon. The organization has made some positive changes over the years, but there's still a lot more that could be done to protect the athletes who make the UFC what it is. So, the next time you watch a UFC fight and feel that rush of adrenaline, just remember that there's so much more happening behind the scenes. It's not all about the glamour and glory. There's a lot of hard work, sacrifice, and tough decisions that go into making the UFC what it is. And those fighters, they're giving it their all, in every sense of the word.